Just want to let you lot know that if you're watching this clip on the Fozcast YouTube channel, the full episode is now available to watch exclusively on Spotify, and it's free. Come on.
Right, so just rewinding back again.
Yeah.
Obviously, Rob's driving forward with this.
Yeah.
And then tell us about Mr. Reynolds and
Yeah.
Ryan's involvement.
Yeah, so that came at a tiny bit later. I mean, not much later. A couple of weeks after we'd started down this sort of crazy path, Rob texted me and was sort of very excited because he's like, "So you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this." He's like, "So I reached out to somebody about sponsorship on the front of shirt and." There's this guy I know, and you may know him too, who has a gin company. And that was his text. And I was like, oh, Ryan Reynolds. In my head, and he was like, "You're never going to guess who it is." So I was like, "Oh God, I got to play along with this."
How are you describing Ryan Reynolds as a guy with a gin company? That's one of the last things, surely, you describe him as.
I think he was trying to hide exactly who it was.
Cryptic clues.
Bit cryptic.
Yeah, cryptic clues.
But unfortunately, his first cryptic clue, I was like, "Oh, right, yeah, Ryan Reynolds. I know that. He's
Damn.
the aviation man."
Damn you.
So then I was like, "Oh, you got to play along." Like, who?
Gin? What's that?
Gin? Yes. Is it Jeff Hendrick? Right? He's got a gin company, doesn't he? I like that. So anyway, in the end, eventually he was like, yeah, so you know him from, it's Deadpool, it's Ryan Reynolds. And I had to be like, whoa. But they knew each other because Ryan had followed Rob on Instagram and sent him a DM, never met him, but sent him a message being like, hey, I love this episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia about Mac's dad, where he does this incredible sort of dance sequence. It's like 8 minutes long and it's crazy. And Ryan had sent him a message being like, that's one of the most incredible things I've ever seen on TV. You don't know me, but, hey, great job. And Rob was like, thanks. I'm a big fan of your work. And but Rob was like, that's it. That's all it says in our DMs. Like, there's 2 messages to each other from sort of 3 years earlier. And he was like, you know what? This guy loves marketing. He loves crazy things. And like, this is a kind of weird and crazy idea. So he messaged him and said, do you want to stick aviation gin on the front of the shirt? And Ryan was like, no, I want to be your co-partner. Would you be interested in me being your partner? And of course, Rob was like, yes. And that's when everything went nuts. Because I think before that, probably realistically, our expectations have been, we talk about, can you believe any of this happened? At that stage, prior to Ryan coming on board, I was like, okay, so what we might do is get hold of a team in the National League and spruce up the stadium. I mean, Rob at that stage, I think, was like, we'll give the team back to the town. We're taking it off the town. And what we'll do is we'll take it off the town. We'll fix up the underside of the tech end and we'll try and get them a training ground and we'll get them into League 2. And then at a certain point, we'll be like, thanks very much. Like, this is it's yours again, but in a better place, like hopefully more sustainable place. We were always very aware that like, we can't just hand it back. We've got to hand it back in a way that it's going to be safe to continue. But when Ryan came on board, it was like, this changes everything. Because
serious now.
Suddenly the kind of money, that you can, again, command from sponsors and from this, that, and the other is many times higher. And, and Ryan's personal finances were such that gave us a better stopgap behind us. We were a bit safer with this, that, and the other. And yeah, that was the point when I was suddenly like, I mean, still, I think at that stage, I was like, well, we could get to like League 1. That'd be good. And then, try and find a buyer who's sensible and responsible. And
I need to ask Ryan this question is where he thinks in his head, no, I want to come on and be a co-owner with you. I want to know where he thinks that from because he's a busy man. He's a movie star. He's a mega celebrity, A-list celebrity. He's a busy man.
Serial entrepreneur as well.
Where does he get it in his head to think I've got time to commit to this? Because it's not something that he can just buy and invest money in and then just leave it to run itself. It's something that he has to get involved with.
Yeah, I think the big thing was the way Rob talked about it from the start. Again, it goes back to like his draw into it was was basically Sunderland fans. He was like, "Oh, I like these people." A big thing he's said many times about Wrexham is that like was struck by how people in Wrexham were exactly the same as people in Philadelphia. Like he's like, I know these people. I've met all these people grew up around me. They have slightly different accents, but I think he felt that about Sunderland as well. So right from the jump, the thing that he was most interested in was like, a football club is like a philanthropic engine. It's a great way. Like you can spend, you can donate $1 million to a charity, right? Or let's say $2 million, because that's what it cost for them to kind of to take over the club. Just give $2 million to a charity, and they'll do something brilliant, and it's amazing. But if you spend $2 million on a football club, and you're able to grow that football club and build it and do it, it reaches so much further in a way, and it becomes a catalyst. I mean, the biggest, craziest thing we've seen with this Wrexham process is, I often measure this through, I get so many people sending me like songs and poems and books they've written, people from Wrexham who are like inspired now. They're optimistic, and they're, I think Wrexham for a long time was a place where people were like, if you were young and had something about you, you sort of left. You went to Manchester or Liverpool, maybe to London, maybe over here, maybe somewhere, but you got out of Wrexham, and maybe your folks are still there and you come back to visit, but you went somewhere else to kind of try and take your opportunity in life. And now we're seeing people moving back to Wrexham, people that have moved to Manchester or Liverpool, who have made a success of themselves there, and they're starting to be like, oh, actually, I want to do this at home. I want to go, if I can do it in Wrexham, I'll do it there. And that's a really amazing side effect to the whole thing. It's not just football.
We were talking about this a few months ago. Do you remember when we were talking about this whole micro economy, and we were talking about property, actually, weren't we?
Yeah.
About in Wrexham and what this may do, what it's done in nearly 5 years, but then what potentially Wrexham could be as a town, as an area in 10 years.
How scary is that for you to think of? Do you sometimes get carried away? Do you ever look to the future? Do you think, what if? Or have you got to... Because this is so new, right? This whole project is so new, and no one's ever done it before.
Yeah.
Back to back to back promotions. No one's ever done it before. It's like you're playing real life Champman. It is.
Yeah.
Real life Football Manager. How can you plan for the future?
It's tricky. I mean, I think my biggest thing is that I'm always banging the drum for, and I'm not the only one in our setup to do that, but is... We can't forget where we were and where we came from. Because I think that actually the worst thing would be if in 10, 15 years' time you looked around and you were like, actually, these are different faces. They aren't the same people that Rob recognised from Philly and from Wrexham. It's become, I think there's a lot of debate around Premier League clubs and pricing out fans and how difficult it is for local fans to get tickets, and how people come from all over the world, and it's brilliant. Our international fans are absolutely vital and central to what we do. And actually, I think I've been most astonished by is how welcoming the local fans are, how well they blend together. They get on really, really well. I think there's that, everyone loves the same thing, and it's hard to hate someone who loves something that you love. But yeah, I think we just got to be careful that we don't turn around and realise we've gentrified Wrexham or in such a way that it's now impossible for local people to buy houses there or do. I mean, I think that's unfortunately a long way off. But as far as the football club is concerned, Fozzie, what it was like when you came back, how direct the interface is between you and the fans. Every time you were coming in from training or coming in for a game, you're there and you get to know. I mean, you knew, Millie and people. You get to know.
That's the bit. Millie there, for example. That's the bit. Is I hope it never loses that.
Yes, because it's magical.
Because you turn up to the stadium, you get changed at the stadium, then everybody jumps in their car, drives down to the training ground. That's not even our training ground, and and then you're back again, and the fans are waiting for you to say hello to you, and it's so nice.
Yes.
And it's so special. You're walking in on a match day, and you're walking through all the fans, signing and the difference between that and Premier League teams is it's faceless.
Yes.
There is none of that contact.
Thanks everybody for watching. We hope you enjoyed this clip of the Fozcast. If you would like to watch the full episode, it is now available exclusively on Spotify for free.